Cataquet, a.k.a. the Card King. We are live on ABC's KMET 1490 AM.com, your number one spot right here for news and talk and sports on the West Coast. I thank everyone for tuning in this morning. On the program today, we have with us a legendary guitarist, heavy metal pioneer artist of the band Diamond Head. I welcome to the program Brian Tatler. Brian C., thanks for being on.
Well, thank you for having me. It's very nice to be on your show, and just good to talk to you people over there in the US. I'm here at home in Stourbridge, sunny Stourbridge in the West Midlands in England. So hello to anybody that's listening in.
Well, it's an honor to have you, Brian. And I want to begin the show. 45 years ago, 1976, you're a teenager. In your bedroom, the idea comes to mind to form a band. If you can, take me through what a 16-year-old Brian Tatler was thinking musically in his bedroom.
Okay. So my older brother, David, took me to see bands from the age of around 13 onwards. He took me to see Black Sabbath and bands like Can and Gentle Giant and all sorts of weird and wonderful bands. It would pass through the Midlands, and so I got into music. He played the guitar. I would have a go on his guitar, and eventually the idea of doing my own band came, to me. I thought I'd like to do a band, and I just roped in my friend Duncan Scott to play the drums. We didn't have a drum kit. We built our own drum kit that we always called the biscuit tin drum kit because it had a little biscuit tin for a snare drum and a plastic tub for a bass drum and stuff like that. And then I would play my brother's guitar and my brother's amp, and we just started, jamming and making up little songs and trying to come up with guitar riffs and stuff like that. So that was it, really. And then, obviously we started looking for a singer, and my brother would say, you need a bass player, you need this, that, and it all innocently grew from that kind of idea, really. Kind of, it's an extension, isn't it? When you're a kid, you play on your bike or you play with your little toys, your action men and all that. And this was like a logical step for me to form a band and play guitar and see what that's like, in a way, because in pursuit of having a good time, having some fun, it seemed like a nice thing to do.
Yeah. Now, and you mentioned your brother being a guitar player himself. He was a member of the Beatles fan club, and I read that he would bring you albums of Zeppelin and Sabbath, and you began to acquire a taste for rock music.
Oh, absolutely. I was into rock. He was in the Beatles fan club, and he used to get the flexi discs and all that. And so, I'd listen to all that with him. But he would bring home Zeppelin albums and Sabbath and, all this stuff. He had quite a good taste, really, in music that rubbed off on me. So, the first album I ever bought was Led Zeppelin 2. And the second album I ever bought was Deep Purple Machine Head. So I always feel I inherited some good taste from my brother. And away I went, and I wanted to be like, Richie Blackmore, or play like, that kind of, I discovered Michael Schenker, and there was some incredible bands around, as you know, in the 70s. And so, very influential to me and a lot of other players. And it was a good time. It was a very creative, original time to be a musician.
So you begin your search for a singer in school, and Sean Harris was voted into the band, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. I just asked another guy. I said, I'm looking for a singer, and he said, I know a singer. Sean Harris can sing, because he'd heard him sing on a school coach trip, singing Bebop Baloola, the Gene Vincent number. And so that was it. So I'd go up to Sean Harris. We were all still at school. We were all 15, 16. And said, I've got a band. Do you want to come and sing in my band? And that was it. Simple as that. So he'd come down. He was really good. You've got the job.
Yeah. Now I want to ask you, how did the name Diamond Head originate?
Okay, so I had a poster from I don't know, some record shop in Stourbridge, and it was for the Phil Manzanera album Diamond Head, which came out in 1975. And I just cut the name out with a pair of scissors and stuck the Diamond Head bit on the wall. And I just thought that'd be a good name for the band. And so we sort of adopted that. We did have a couple of option names, and I'd come up with some terrible ones prior to that. But once we settled on Diamond Head, I always thought it's a good name, Diamond Head, and you can't say anything negative about a diamond. So it felt right, and that was it from then on, from like 1976 to present day. That's the name.
So Diamond Head was it. Now, you were writing songs in your bedroom. I believe your first demo, you wrote 5 songs in 6 hours, recorded, right?
No, that's not true. That's it's a nice little bit exaggeration. But we would write in the bedroom. We'd get together probably twice a week and write these songs. And we wrote lots and lots of songs. But we made our own demo straight onto cassette. But the first actual demo where we went and did a 4-track demo a few miles away in a place called Kidderminster, where we paid £5 an hour to record this demo. We did record 5 songs, but they'd been written, over a period of time, so we weren't that quick. But we did write a lot of songs, and there's a true story about, by the time we went in to make our first album in 1980, we'd written about 100 songs, and we'd done, I don't know, maybe 20 gigs or something like that. So the 7 songs that we used on that debut album were all our theme, our best songs up to that date. So it made the quality of the record so much better, because we'd got a lot of choice and we played them live. So we kind of worked them in a little bit, routine for them.
So, Brian, you wrote 100 songs. You formed the band in your room. You play guitar. You come from a family background of musicians. Down the road, inevitably, there's no question it would lead to success.
Well, I didn't presume that would happen. I had no idea how to make it. I looked up to bands like Led Zeppelin and Deep Purple, but I had no idea how you made records or how you get to be on top of the pops, which was our big show where you'd feature, bands and they'd have hit records and that. And I had no idea how you become a big band. I could imagine you play in a local pub and all that, but the idea of getting a record deal and having a successful album was a million miles away. I had no idea how that was going to happen. But I was absolutely bitten by the bug. I wanted to be a musician, and I couldn't think of anything that I wanted to do more. I did a normal 9-to-5 job to pay for equipment in a way and buy a car and things like that. But it was all a means to an end, because I had my sights firmly set on being in a band, being a successful band, being a musician.
Yeah, you had your passion, and it was definitely your calling. So I want to talk about the 1980 creation, the album called Lightning to the Nations. By the way, considered today by media critics as one of the top 25 new wave heavy metal albums of all time. So that's a special album, Brian. You must be very proud of.
I am, and it was done very quickly and very cheaply. So it's amazing to me that we're still talking about it 40 years later, and that it's garnered such respect and has become such an influential album on, not only Metallica, but other bands of that kind of style and genre and period. So, yeah, I'm very proud of it. We just managed to capture some lightning in a bottle, if you forgive the cliche, but it worked. We had the songs, we had the vibe, and Sean was a great singer, and we had some great riffs and some great songs, and just worked. It all came together. So what can I say?
Now I want to play a little sample of a track on that album, and then we can discuss.
Oh, okay, sure.
Let's hear Diamond Head. With us is Brian Tatler of Diamond Head. You just heard the Prince from the album Lightning to the Nations. Brian, tremendous play there. A lot of your famous riffs on that track. I picked that track. It's really my favorite in the album. Can you talk a little bit about the origination of that tune?
I can't remember much about that one. I don't know why. It is a long time ago. It was probably written in 1979, so that's 42 years ago. We always just seem to be able to come up with good riffs, and then we'd keep building on a song. I mean, that song's about maybe 6 minutes long, 6.5, and on that same album, Lightning to the Nations, you've got Sucking My Love, which is about 9.5 minutes. You've got Am I Evil, which is 7 minutes 40. Helpless, which is about 6 minutes 40. So we definitely got into writing these big epic songs. We didn't really want to write a hit single and be in the charts somehow. We kind of thought, let's write monsters, like really big epic-y type songs, probably like some of our favorite bands. You've got things like Child in Time, Deep Purple, you've got Kashmir, Led Zeppelin, Symptom of the Universe, Black Sabbath, excuse me, War Pigs, Black Sabbath. So we did gravitate towards the big long epics, and as I say, I can hardly remember writing The Prince. The same with Lightning to the Nations, the track. I don't even remember coming up with the parts and constructing it. It just seemed to come together. We did work very, very well. Myself and Sean were the main writers, and as a writing partnership, it was very good. Probably better than either of us realized at the time, having had no experience outside. Neither of us, or any of us, in fact, had been in any other bands. So we had nothing to compare it against. And we just worked really well. And it was probably a bit of luck that we, even came together and began writing our own material. And that's some of the results.
I mean, album really, for me, demonstrates your playing ability. It contains so many of your classic riffs, Brian, on guitar. It has become legendary work in the industry.
Yeah. Again, I was just trying to be like my heroes. I looked up to the great players of the 70s, and I would probably steal a little bit here and a little bit there, and aiming high. I wanted to probably be as good as people like Richie Blackmore, or some of these great players. So I don't know where a lot of that come from. A lot of it's sort of bravado and bluff when you're a teenager. You kind of want to show off. You want to play as fast as you possibly can, and you don't worry too much about technique. That all comes later. But there was definitely a sense of the moment where we were very confident, and we thought we would just get out there and do our thing. And we always thought we were as good as any of the other up and coming bands. As I say, we wanted to be probably the best band in the world, in an ideal world. Our ambition. We were ambitious. We wanted to be big. But that's a good thing, isn't it? That's a sort of hunger, a desire.
I mean, it's a brilliant thing. Just to remind the audience here, that record was definitely a catalyst for the movement, as I mentioned, of British heavy metal. I mean, it inspired bands like Metallica and Megadeth. So, it means a lot. Talk about performing with Metallica. And if I recall, you opened up for the Big Four at one time. Is that correct?
We've done it twice. Yes, we did 2 dates. We did one in Nebworth in the UK, opening for the Big Four, and then we did one in France. And we've supported Metallica a few times over the years, and Megadeth. We did a whole tour with Megadeth. So it's fantastic to do those sort of shows, because they're such professional bands, and they're playing to massive crowds and things. So brilliant opportunities for a band like Diamond Head, and of course they always treat you really well, because I've got so much respect for you anyway, and it's a mutual appreciation, and it goes a long way. But yeah, brilliant to do those dates with those bands I've just named. But yeah. Okay.
And then in 1980, if I read correctly, you opened up for AC/DC.
That's right. Yeah, we got 2 dates with AC/DC in the UK. Absolutely fantastic. Both sold out. Both dates had been postponed from the previous Highway to Hell tour into the beginning of 1980. So we ended up doing the last 2 ever gigs with Bon Scott. And of course, nobody knew at the time that, within a week or so, he was going to be dead. But that tragedy. But fantastic gigs for us, because we were such huge AC/DC fans, and I'd seen them probably 4 or 5 times already, and so the idea of opening for AC/DC was just incredible, and we went down really well, which was another incredible sort of awakening, an eye-opening moment for us, because from playing clubs and things, we probably played to a few hundred people and things like that, and suddenly we're playing to like 3,000 people, and none of them were there to see Diamond Head. They were all there to see AC/DC. The tickets had been sold 6 months in advance, and the fact that we went down really well in front of their crowd was such a boost. We felt, wow, that was a big moment. It felt doable, almost like we could actually do this. We could conquer big days, big moments.
Man, now if you can just make a site for the audience and give us information on what Diamond Head's doing right now.
Okay, the website is www.diamondheadofficial.com. And then, of course, there's other social media like Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all that. So at the moment, we're just about to start rehearsal. We have got a couple of gigs coming up in the UK next Friday and next Saturday. Then after that, we've got a festival in Germany. I forget what it's called, but it's all on the website. One second, I can tell you. There's that many festivals in Germany, rock festivals, that they all blend into one. I'm just flicking through the diary. I just want to know for myself as much as anything. Oh yeah, Metal Hammer. So we're playing Metal Hammer in Germany, Paradise. And then we've got Planet Rock Festival as well. But we also writing a new album, and so some of these rehearsals will be devoted to just working on the new material. We've all been in lockdown, and our lockdown started in March 2020. So at that moment, I decided, okay, well, if we're not going to be at a gig, if we're not going to rehearse or do anything for months and months and months, I'm going to write. And so I just put my writing hat on, and I wrote as many songs as I could, and I demoed them, and then when I meet up with Raz, we do more demos, and so we've all rehearsals with the whole band, and we've got some more coming up starting on Tuesday. So we're trying to keep busy. It's been extremely difficult, not just for us, but for all bands and everybody in the entertainment and hospitality. It's been an absolute nightmare, but hopefully we'll come out the other side and get back to something like it was.
Yeah, and I'm looking at this website. I mean, it's fantastic. I want to mention your autobiography, which I see it here. Talk about writing the autobiography.
Okay. Again, I did that in a downtime sort of moment when we had a previous singer called Nick Tart who emigrated to Brisbane in 2008. And I thought, okay, well, that's going to sort of spell the end of either the band or our period of gigging, because it's such an expensive and complicated process to fly a singer backwards and forwards from Brisbane. So I set about writing my autobiography, and which took about 18 months. But I'm glad I did, because I thought to myself, one day I'm going to end up with something. People are going to say, you used to be in a band, you used to play guitar. And I go, did I? Really? And so rather than forget it all, I thought, let's get it down now. Let's tell the story. I do get a lot of people come to me at gigs and say, what happened with this? How come MCA did this? And, they want to know the story and the history. And I thought, let's put it all down on paper before A, I forget it, and B, so that these people can understand sort of something about what Diamond it's been through and how the story's unfolded, rather than me have to keep telling them in sweaty dressing rooms.
Yeah, Brian, and from what I'm reading, it seems like this autobiography is pretty scarce to find. Only 500 copies were made.
That's right. I did 500. They all sold. Then I did an updated version a couple of years later, and did another 500, and they all sold as well. So, yeah, you'd have to buy it secondhand now. You'd have to buy it on eBay or something, and of course it becomes expensive, £100 or whatever. It's crazy money. But I didn't want to do it through a proper publishing house. I did a sort of self published thing where I paid for the 500 to be made, and then sold them bit by bit, mail order mainly, on the net, on the website, and at Summit gigs.
And I have a couple of minutes left. I want to remind everyone, Lightning to the Nations was re-released, right? 2020 HD style.
That's right, yeah. Well, because it was coming up to the 40th anniversary, because it was originally recorded and released in 1980, we thought, what can we do to celebrate the 40th anniversary? We thought, well, we could just play it live, do the whole album, blah, blah, blah. But we've done all that already. We did a 30th anniversary tour. So Carl, our drummer, suggested, what about if we re-record it? Because we, modern technology, we've got Raz in the band who's a producer. And we thought, okay, let's do that. Let's re-record the whole album as a kind of 40th anniversary special thing for the fans. And we thought we'd put some covers on as well. And and give it a go. And I mean, some people we thought might not like it. Don't mess with the original kind of vibe, and I can understand that. But we did it, and it sounds great, and the feedback's been amazing. So I'm chuffed that it kind of breathes a bit more life into the old tracks, and it's fascinating that they still sound good now after 40 years. That's just blows my mind a little bit, that the longevity of the songs.
Oh, it sounds awesome. There's no doubt about it. And my final question: proudest moment in your career?
Oh, I think probably being covered by Metallica, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times was pretty exceptional. And being on that Garage Inc. album, which sold over 5 million copies, that's incredible, because Diamond had never sold millions of records. Unfortunately, we didn't get the right deal, we didn't have the management, etc., etc. But that being covered by Metallica has been an awesome thing for Diamond Head and me as a writer.
Amazing work, Brian. Amazing career. You're definitely a pioneer in the business. I really thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you very much, Brian. I've enjoyed talking.
You take care of yourself.
You too.
Bye-bye. And we're going to mention the website, diamondheadofficial.com. Brian Tatler of Diamond Head. Until next week, happy collecting to all.